was in the hospital when I saw Anne Margaret. Man, she was something else. Out there in that blazing heat, dancing and singing and something.
So, okay, so were you aware, while you were there, of the media presence and how the war was being reported from our politicians, and then how it was being reported on the nightly news?
Less so than I ever was when I was stateside.
Yeah, okay.
More information and more coverage on TV than I was aware of being there, because the only thing I knew about was what I was doing,
Yeah.
what the units I was supporting were doing, which made everything look, sometimes they looked favorable and other times it just looked crazy.
But once you were stateside, when your tour was done, you're in there 1 year, 66, 67, and you came back home. How did you notice the way the war was being reported, and did you notice any changes? Because by that time the war was, post Gulf of Tonkin, the war was 3 years old, 3.5 years old. It'd been going on. So did you pay attention to any reporting and compare that to what you had experienced over there versus what the top brass was telling you?
The reporting made me sick.
Yeah.
And it also made
How
me,
so? Why? Just because
we were losing so many people.
Okay.
And wounded as well as dead.
So that was being, the media or some of the reporting you saw, they were not glazing over that. They weren't candy coating it. They were putting.
Well, I don't know how the news media was handling it, except when I got back, they were beginning to really, I won't say take sides, but there was more than one side.
Got it. Okay.
And they were revealing more factual information than propaganda.
Yeah.
Which, personally, I couldn't get it out of my head.
Yeah.
And then I also, like so many people, had guilt feelings about leaving before the war was over.
Yeah. So you did detect a change in the national mood and the reporting and just the general.
The national mood was getting worse with time.
Yeah.
And there was no doubt about that. But
and it was reflected in the media. It was in conjunction.
When I first went over in '66, there didn't seem to be a lot of opposition.
Yeah.
But it just grew and grew and grew.
And then after the war, were you involved in, I don't want to call it the anti-war movement, but involved in some sort of, I don't know, it would be what would you call it? Yeah.
Vietnam Veterans Against the War.
Okay.
I was a founding member at the University of Tennessee, along with Mike Rowland, who had been an infantry company commander. And also student body president when I was at East Tennessee State.
And so you were not part of the counterculture anti-war movement out burning draft cards and running to Canada or whatever, but rather what was kind of the angle that you all were taking to your...
I never felt any resentment toward those people who were trying not to go.
Yeah.
Or even Jane Fonda, for what she's probably more right than 90% of the people who were backing the war, but she went pretty far.
She did.
And representing opposition to what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Really, most military people hate her. I never did. I felt like she was just doing her job.
Okay.
Just doing what she felt.
But for your participation in what you say it was again?
Vietnam Veterans Against
the War. What was the? Was it more just of a truth seeking, or you just wanted the truth to be out there? Is that?
We wanted the country to be uninvolved.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But we never dreamed that we would become uninvolved the way we did.
Can you elaborate on that?
Well, we wanted to see the victorious conclusion. wanted to accomplish what we thought we were supposed to accomplish, which was
So it
never made any sense.
So it
because-
wasn't necessarily that you were protesting the war. It was just the way it was being handled.
exactly,
Okay. Yeah.
exactly.
The way the war was being fought.
Yeah.
And what-
I
and
wish
what
I had
was-
a copy of a newspaper article I wrote when I was in Peachtree City working for the county government about my opinion about things and how things turned out. And one of the things I put in there was a quote from a South Vietnamese soldier who said, "You've made killers of our men, whores of our women, and something else. Can't remember what it was."
Whew.
And
That's
but
pretty
it was
poignant.
it was so true. I mean, it was just so true. We tore that country apart. Just
Yeah.
innocent people, just like in the Ukraine now, innocent people getting
Turned into killers and women.
inaugurated, being killed and
Yeah.
wounded, and what have you.
Can you elaborate on your partner in the Vietnam Veterans Against the War? What was his name? You said he was
Mike
a company.
Rowland.
Mike, his issue where he got started was the controversy and lies surrounding the M16.
That's right.
An early adoption.
And
Well, Mr. Reeves, who is his class, military history,
Mm-hmm.
they've already spoken about that. There's some aspects of that controversy I was unaware of. There was some nastiness going on with that weapon.
oh yeah,
And I don't mean just in terms of, it just sounds in general like it was rushed into service without being properly vetted.
it was. And Mike Rowland was probably the most outspoken company commander of all. He was always outspoken about everything. That's his kind of guy.
What was his?
Well, he was also a Tennessee state senator.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. So what was his involvement with the weapon, other than his troops were being issued the weapon? I take it.
Yeah, that
Okay.
was it.
Yeah, what was
that
his-
was his
what was
involvement.
his
And
involvement with that
he was
controversy?
he was revealing facts that the government didn't want revealed.
Got it. Exposing.
So he was scorned by the military.
He was a whistleblower.
Yeah, exactly. He was a whistleblower.
And what were some of the facts that he revealed?
The malfunctions of the M16 were causing extensive casualties that shouldn't be enduring.
Dad, do you know that? And again, in this, Mr. Reeves can put this in context for his class, but Mr. Reeves was speaking to me about there even being some internal sabotage of that weapon. That they were even the government, the Pentagon, where some folks were even going so far as to make sure the weapon would have a certain failure rate because they didn't want it. There were plenty of people who said we don't want this piece of crap. They wanted the M14,
What?
and they were sabotaging, and they knew that there needed to be
A lot of
Show
soldiers. who-
show the folks your ink.
Hmm?
Show some folks your ink.
What?
There you go.
your ink.
You got your combat medics badge. What else you got there? Your airborne, not your paratrooper.
Aviator, air assault.
Reese, make sure you get Dad's fake Rolex too.
You got anything over
No,
there?
no. But get Reese, get the fake Rolex.
So just answers.
Yeah, it sounds like some of the circumstances surrounding the early adoption of that weapon was an absolute cluster, a mess,
Well,
a lot of lies and
Only
BS.
thing I can really say that's significant is I'm glad I wasn't using
Yeah.
it in a defensive capacity
Wow.
when it was first
Can you
introduced to
tell
the
any
army.
stories about soldiers that you knew that had the option to? Because a lot of American GIs used various weapons in Vietnam
Oh yeah.
as their primary rifle, and a lot of them chose not to use it.
Oh well, most of them didn't have any choice. It just came down. issued M16s and took the M14s away. And many of them, I know, would, until they got the bugs out of the M16, would say they preferred the M14 to the M16. And of course, there were people who preferred the carbine, and people who preferred the M60, and people who preferred the Browning automatic BAR.
I couldn't believe the level of detail that Mr. Reeves was speaking to me about the controversy over that weapon. I mean, there are a number of different factors and variables that
Well,
it was bad.
You probably
It was
know
bad.
more about it tonight.
Well, they even mentioned it in We Were Soldiers, and they're having that discussion.
It was bad.
between the sergeant major and the
Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah.
and Colonel
The Brigadier General.
the Colonel. When they're talking about-
that's right. Yeah,
he's
yeah.
like, they're talking about it being a new gun.
Oh,
and he goes, I figure they'll probably, after this battle, or where there'll probably be plenty of them around. And he was like, it was like the sergeant major was like, I'm not using that.
Yeah, there were some troops that had AKs
Yeah.
that they captured, and if they had ammo, 7.62, I think was the ammo for AK.
So more than anything with the Vietnam soldiers against the war, it sounds like you just wanted the truth.
That's right, and
Just wanted the
and
truth.
Most veterans would not speak out.
Really.
And I chose to speak out, made presentations on campus and around with mostly Mike and I would wear my uniform.
And were you? Is it true that you were instructed, or it was recommended to you not to wear your uniform on the fly home?
Oh yeah, they didn't want to see me wearing our uniforms when we were on R&R in Vietnamese cities.
Yeah. Target.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Because the enemy was everywhere.
Yeah.
I think that pretty well covers it. There's one. Pop, do you still fly helicopters today?
No, ma'am.
If not, do you want to fly again?
Yeah.
Did you enjoy flying?
I enjoyed
Outside of the combat role, which,
Oh, yeah.
you enjoyed flying.
Oh, heavens, yes. Loved it.
I think that's anything, Dad. I think that's pretty comprehensive. That's good.
Show them a picture of me
I will.
with that H-13 that I'm standing there with a kid.
Yeah. I will.
I'll send that to you.